Hi everyone, welcome to TalentSprint. Guys and girls, I'm back again today to discuss a very important segment of IBPS PO exam. Now we have been talking about applying for the IBPS exam, but one thing that is very important while you're applying for the IBPS exam is about the preference of the banks. Yes, you heard me right. I'm talking about the bank preference, which is extremely important while you are completing your online application. Now, we already know that the online application has started and it's the last date for it is September 5th. So I'm sure many of you must have already applied for the exam. This is for those people who are still struggling to apply or thinking about applying and have not got the things ready to apply for the exam. So in case you have not applied and you have some confusion, you did not complete the application form because of the confusion about your preferences for the bank, today I'm here to help you out with that. So we know that 20 banks have been included in this IBPS PO exam, right? So there are 20 banks who have chosen that yes, they are going to go through the IBPS PO exam and select the candidates through this. Now what has happened this year? If you notice that the number of vacancies that we have has reduced drastically. It was around 8,000, 9,000 previous year, and this year it has come to 3,500 approximately. In fact, if I have to tell you the precise number, it is 3,562 vacancies that we have this year. So it's extremely important for you to be very careful and choose the preferences correctly. Now remember one thing, it's when you are putting in the preferences for the online exam, for the application there, you have to choose all the 20 banks according to your preference. It is not that you just choose 4 to 5 banks and say, okay, मैं यहाँ चले ये prefer करता हूँ या वो prefer करती हूँ, ये तीनों चीजें मेरे preference है और बस. That is not how it actually works. You have to actually choose all the 20 and rank accordingly, that which one is your first preference, which is second, and so on. Now today I'm here to help you out to understand that how you can or what basis you should be looking into the preferences. The first thing that you should be very careful about is the number of vacancies. That should be your first priority when you're choosing the preferences of the bank, because as we know, the number of vacancies are very limited. So you have to see that which bank is giving more number of vacancies or has more number of vacancies, so that should be your first preference. So based on the number of vacancies, your preference should also be the first thing. So say for example, what I understand is Canara Bank has the maximum number of vacancies. It has around 1,350 vacancies. So definitely Canara Bank should be your first choice depending upon the vacancies. Talking about the first three, I would say first is Canara Bank because it has 1,350 vacancies. The other one is Andhra Bank that has 625 vacancies. And the last one is UCO, which has 530 vacancies. So these three banks should be your first preference because obviously the number of vacancies are more in these banks. Also, what we have heard is there are 11 banks out of this 20 banks who have not really participated and told that how many vacancies they are looking for. So they have not really, they are participating in the IBPS PO exam, but the number of vacancies are not decided for these banks. So which are the banks that are not recruiting right now? I'll tell you that, so that those should be your last preference. These 11 banks that I'm talking about should be your last preference. So we spoke about the first three preference that it should be. One is Canara Bank, the second one is Andhra Bank, and the third one is UCO Bank. Right, so these should be your first preference, and these three banks itself covers 2,505 vacancies out of the 3,562 new vacancies that has been declared. Out of this, already with these three banks, Canara and Andhra and UCO, it covers 2,505 vacancies. So these three should definitely be your first three preferences. The rest 1,057 vacancies are from the rest of the other 6 banks that are participating, say Allahabad Bank or any other bank that is participating for the recruiting. Now let me move on to the next part, that which banks are not recruiting. They are participating, but they say that they are not recruiting. One of it is the Corporation Bank has no vacancies for OBC. They have said that there are no vacancies for OBC, but definitely SC, ST people, or with in minority communities, the guys or girls whoever are there in that segment would get certain opportunities in Corporation Bank. Okay, coming back to the banks which are not recruiting and we do not have any data about it as of now, is Bank of Baroda, Dena Bank, IDBI Bank, Indian Bank, Indian Overseas Bank, Oriental Bank of Commerce, Punjab National Bank, Punjab and Sind Bank, Syndicate Bank, United Bank of India, and Vijaya Bank. So these are the 11 banks which are not recruiting, and we do not have any data of that right now. So we understand that these banks are not recruiting there. Guys, these data can change, and these changes will definitely reflect on the official website of IBPS PO. So this is what we understand till now that we have got the data about. Okay, so what we are discussing, this is again a quick review for the people who have joined us right now, is today we are discussing a very important segment, which is the preference of the banks that you have to choose while you're applying for the online exam, for the IBPS PO exam. So the 3 banks that you should definitely put in the highest priorities because of the number of vacancies are more is Canara Bank, Andhra Bank, and UCO Bank. That's the first thing I told us. First is about the number of vacancies, which is very important. What is the other thing that you should really consider? And you have to do a little research about this, guys. It's not that you just choose blindly, but you definitely should find out, Google it, or find out from your friends who may be already bankers, or if you have any banking relatives or so on, you should find out from them about the work culture of these banks that you are looking for. Maybe you choose a particular bank because of their geographic location or because of their demographic location. You want to choose a certain bank, but it's extremely important that in case you get selected in this bank, you have to work in this bank for quite some time, isn't it? So it's very important that this bank gives you the opportunities to grow in your professional career. So certain work culture that you should look into when you are choosing your banks, apart from the vacancies, is the work culture, that whether it has a professional work culture, is it a very organized manner, their work culture, is it very organized in their work culture? Are they professional but at the same time friendly? How about the higher management? Are they supportive higher management? Now it would definitely differ, but certain banks, if you find out about it, has a certain culture. It is definite that okay, this particular bank is very friendly, very progressive in their thought. The schemes that they come up is very progressive, very thoughtful, creative in their work. So these things you should really understand and choose what is correct for your skill set. What you prefer? Do you prefer a professional and a strict environment, or do you prefer an environment which is professional but very friendly at the same time? That is totally an individual's choice. So certain things like this is very important, which you have to find out. I would say certain things. First is definitely what is the work culture. When I say work culture, I'm talking about the environment of that bank. Is it a professional bank in terms of how they work, what kind of work they do? The second thing is, what do their employees say? Because a lot of stories we get to know, a lot of insights we get to know from the employees who are actually working in the bank, right? So what is the review from the employees? This is something you should find out, and you will know the real thing about the bank. Organized workplace or not, whether the senior management is a supportive senior management or not, and definitely a progressive work culture. You have to see that they are helping you to grow and go forward, and not thinking about just traditional banking system, or not going back in the time period, but going forward in the time period, right? So these are the two things that you should really focus on, apart from the geographic location of that bank. Apart from that, these are the two very, very important things. One is the number of vacancies of what is there in the bank, and definitely the second one is a work culture of that particular bank. So this will definitely help you to complete your online application. I'm sure about that. So go ahead, finish. I hope whatever confusion was there, whatever you for whatever reason you could not complete, if this is the reason, I am sure that this insight will help you to complete your online application as soon as possible. Now moving on to the next segment, which is, now you know that you have applied for the exam, we have to prepare for the exam, isn't it? So what do we do every day? We see a video which will help you to get some tricks and understand and help you crack the IBPS PO exam questions in a much better manner. So time management skill is something that will help you, right? So let's look into what is the video that we are going to see today, and how is this video going to help you with your quantitative aptitude. So let's see. I will help you with this. So here is our edX platform that we have, and like always, we have to put in our credentials. Let me just put in my credentials here. We log in using our credentials. It's logging in. Now this is the way we take feedback for our platform, feedback for our service and the content. So if you are already an existing customer, you would definitely know this. Okay, so we move to our quantitative aptitude, and today what we are going to learn is about square root. I'm going to show you how it will help you in speed maths. Get into speed maths, and we will see a video which deals with square root that will help you to crack any questions related to square root. So let's just play the video.
Let us now look at the next important aspect of simplifications, that is finding out square roots of a given number. Generally, finding out square root by the regular procedure takes a lot of time. That is called as long division method, and we end up wasting a lot of time by the time we get the answer. So let's see how can we find out square roots of a given number in a smart way. Since we have already learned how to find out squares, it will be easy for us to decide how to get the square roots. Here we are going to follow a simple 3-step procedure to get the answer. Before we take up the procedure, let us just understand what is the pattern to be followed for the unit space. We have already seen this pattern when we have learned 1 to 30 squares. Let us quickly revise this once again. Whenever a number ends with 1, its square root always ends with 1 or 9. Whenever a number ends with 4, the square root ends with 2 or 8. Similarly, if a number is ending with 9, its square root ends with either 3 or 7. When a number ends with 6, square root ends with 4 or 6. And we very well know that when a number ends with 5, its square root also ends with 5. So this pattern should be very clearly understood and remembered to find out square roots. The other very important point which I would like to add here is that the method which we are going to learn now is applicable only for perfect squares. That means by following the 3-step procedure that we shall discuss now, we can find out the square roots of only those numbers which are perfect squares. It is not applicable for imperfect squares. So that is one condition that we need to take care of. This method is applicable if and only if the given number is a perfect square. At this point, you all might be having a doubt that how should we decide whether the given number is a perfect square or not. Let me tell you friends, finding out whether the given number is a perfect square or not is really a very lengthy procedure. lot of tests have to be performed before we come to a conclusion whether the given number is perfect square or not. But generally in bank exams, when the square root is to be found in case of simplifications, the number given is always a perfect square. Only when the question is given under approximations, the given number may or may not be a perfect square. So simply remember that if you have a question from simplifications where you need to find out square root in one of the steps, consider the given number to be a perfect square. Take it for granted that the number is a perfect square, apply the method that we will discuss now and get the required answer. Do not worry about whether it is perfect or imperfect. Why? Because as I've already mentioned, in bank exams we get always perfect squares. If it is a question from approximations, then the given number may be an imperfect square. So keeping in mind that the method is applicable only for perfect squares, let us also understand that these numbers that we are talking about here are all perfect squares. That means only when a number which is perfect square ends with 1, its square root ends with 1 or 9. Or only when a perfect square ends with 9, its square root ends with 3 or 7. Likewise, for 4, 6 and 5 also, the numbers have to be perfect squares. So let us now take up some examples and understand the procedure of finding out square roots of perfect squares. Now the given question here is, what is square root of 2401? As I've already mentioned, we have no idea whether the given number 2401 is a perfect square or not. But let us take it for granted that the given number is a perfect square and apply the method and see what's the answer here. Now the first step to be applied here is check the units place of the given number. Here the number is ending with 1. We very well know that when a number ends with 1, its square root ends with 1 or 9. So very clearly the square root of this number should either end with 1 or it should end with 9. That means units place of the given number will be 1 or 9. So that's the first step to be followed. First of all, decide what will be the units place for the given answer. Now the second step here is to leave the last 2 digits. Remember, always leave the last 2 digits. Now we need to find out that number which is immediately less than 24 and a perfect square. So what is a number which is less than 24 and a perfect square? We know that it is 16. Why? Because 4 square is 16, 5 square is 25. 5 square 25 is more than 24. Remember, we always have to go on the lesser side. So what is a number which is immediately less than 24 and a perfect square is 16. 16 is nothing but 4 square. So that 4 will be the tens place. So that is the second step of the procedure. That means now we know that the answer is either 41 or 49. Remember, the first step is to check the units place and find out what are the possible units places. Second step is to leave the last 2 digits, find out a number which is immediately less than the remaining part of the question and a perfect square. So that here comes out to be 16. So 16 is nothing but 4 square. So that is the reason we write 4 here. And now comes the third and the last step. In the third step, we have to decide which of these two is correct. Is the answer 41 or 49? Now that can be done in 2 or 3 different ways. The first method here to do that is, we can take exactly what comes between 41 and 49. That means the number which comes exactly between 41 and 49 is 45. What is 45 square? 2025. From the knowledge of finding out squares of numbers ending with 5, we know that 45 square should be 2025. The given number here is 2401. That means very clearly 2401 is more than 2025. 2401 is greater than 2025. If this number is greater than 2025, it is obvious that square root of this number should be greater than 45. So answer here has to be 49. Why? Because the number given is more than 2025. That means it is more than 45 square. If this number is more than 45 square, its square root will be more than 45. So 41 here is less than 45. That is the reason it is ruled out. And we can now say that the correct answer is 49. So 49 is the square root for 2401. So these are the 3 steps that we need to follow to get the answer here. The first step is look at the unit space and decide what are the possible unit spaces. Second step is to leave the last 2 digits of the given number, and from the remaining part we need to find out a number which is less than the remaining part and a perfect square. And the third step here is to check a square of the number which is exactly between the 2 possibilities, which is 45 here. 45 square is 2025. Now since 2401 is more than 2025, its square root should be more than 45. What is more than 45 out of these two? 49. So that is our answer. The other way to find out which of these two is correct, that means the other way to get the third step here is to check whether 2401 is closer to 40 square or closer to 50 square. For example, we know that 40 square is 1600 and 50 square is 2500. Now this number 2401, if we check 1600 and 2500, that means 40 square and 50 square, we find that 2401 is closer to 2500. If it is closer to 2500, its square root should be closer to 50. Why? Because square root of 2500 is 50 and square root of 1600 is 40. So the number here is closer to 2500, hence its square root should be closer to 50. What is closer to 50? 49. So that's the answer. So either you can find out the square of the middle number, or you can check whether the given number is closer to 40 square or 50 square, and accordingly decide what's the correct answer. So using these three steps, we can find out the square root of a perfect square in less than 3 to 4 seconds. Let us now take some more examples and get the clear picture here. The second one here is square root of 6084. Let us take 6084 to be a perfect square. Now as the number is ending in 4, its square root will end with 2 or 8. So that's the first step. Now the second step here is to leave the last two digits and find out a number which is less than 60 and a perfect square. And remember, it should be immediately less than 60. So what is less than 60 and a perfect square? It is 49. Why? Because 7 square is 49 and 8 square is 64. It is more than 60. So we want something less than 60. So 49 should be considered. Remember friends, 36 is also a perfect square and less than 60. But 36 cannot be considered here. Why? Because we are looking for something which is immediately less than 60 and a perfect square. So that has to be 49. That means very clearly the second step says that the tens place has to be 7. Why? Because 49 is 7 squared. So 7 comes in the tens place. So after the second step, we know that either the answer is 72 or 78. Now if we try to observe, the number 6084 is closer to 6400 when compared to 4900. See, the numbers here are 72 and 78. So the range will be 70 to 80. 70 square and 80 squares are 4900 and 6400. This number 6084 is closer to 6400 when compared to 4900. So very clearly answer should be closer to 80. What is closer to 80? 78. So 78 is the correct answer. Otherwise, we can find out the square of the middle number. What comes exactly between 72 and 78? 75. 75 square is 5625. Now if you observe, 6084 is greater than 5625. If it is greater than 5625, answer should be greater than 75. What is greater than 75? 78. So 78 is taken as the correct answer. So these three steps will give you the square root of the given number. Let us take one more example. Square root of 12769. Now here, as per the first step, as the number is ending in 9, square root should end with 3 or 7. Second step is to leave the last two digits. Now what is less than 127 and a perfect square? Less than 127 is 121. 121 is 11 square. That means very clearly the next part should be 11 in the answer. So the answer here either is 113 or 117. Now the third step is to decide which of these two is correct. Now exactly what comes between 113 and 117 is 115. What is 115 square? 11 into 12, 13225. And this number 12769 is less than 13225. If it is less than 13225, its square root should be less than 115. What is less than 115? 113. So 113 is the correct answer, and this gets cancelled. Otherwise, we can just see what is 110 square and 120 square. Why? Because the numbers here are 113 and 117. They lie in between 110 and 120. 110 square is 12100 and 120 square is 14400. Clearly 12769 is closer to 12100 when compared to 14400. So answer has to be closer to 110. What is closer to 110 out of these two? 113. So hence 113 is the correct answer. So this is how simply apply these three simple steps and get the required answer. Alright friends, here comes the test for you. Let us see if you can get the answers for these questions right or not. And remember, going by 3 to 4 seconds per question, we can say that here 16 seconds is more than enough to get all the 4 answers. But because I am a little lenient, let us take it as 20 seconds. So you have 20 seconds to answer these 4 questions. And your clock has already started. Time up guys, let's see what are the answers for these 4 questions. The first one here is 7569. Number ends with 9, so 3 or 7. 3 or 7. Less than 75 and a perfect square is 64. 64 gives us 8. 83 or 87. Now exactly in between is 85 square. 85 square will be 7225. This number is more than 7225. So answer should be more than 85. So 87 is the correct answer. The next one here is 5776. As the number is ending in 6, square root should end with 4 or 6. Leaving the last 2 digits. What is less than 57 in a perfect square? That's 49. 49 gives 74. So answer is 74 or 76. Exactly between 74 and 76 we have 75. 75 square is 5625. This number is more than 5625. So answer should be more than 75. 76 is the correct answer. The next one here is 1521. Because the number is ending in 1, its square root should end with 1 or 9. Leaving the last 2 digits. Less than 15 in a perfect square is 9. 9 is square of 3. So we get 31 or 39. Now exactly between them we have 35. Or otherwise if we go by the range of 30 to 40. 30 square is 900. 40 square is 1600. This number is closer to 1600. So answer has to be closer to 40. So 39 is the correct answer. And the last one here is square root of 12,544. As the number is ending in 4, square root will be ending with 2 or 8. Leaving the last 2 digits, we need to check what is less than 125 and a perfect square. That is 121. 121 gives us 11. So the second step says answer should either be 112 or 118. Now what comes exactly between 112 and 118? That is 115. 115 square is 13225. The given number 12544 is less than 13225. So answer should be less than 115. What is less than 115? 112. So 112 has to be the correct answer. Practice well on this technique and make sure that next time when you're supposed to find out a square root, you don't spend more than 3 seconds to get the answer.
Hey guys, so that was a wonderful video, wasn't it? While I was watching the video along with you, I got a chance to go through your lovely comments. So thank you so much for such encouraging comments, guys. This really shows that you are enjoying this session. Great. So let's understand another thing. Now that you are totally prepared with the square root questions, one more thing that can help you out is our mobile app, the TalentSprint mobile app. The link is shared in the description. Now, how is that going to benefit you? It's going to benefit you to crack the IBPS PO exam. With our TalentSprint mobile app, you will be able to give your own exam, and depending upon your exam results, you will get a personalized exam strategy that is based on your own exam. So you choose IBPS PO, you write the exam, and based on those results, you get your exam strategy. The exam strategy will tell you your strengths and weakness, and it will be something like a personal coach who is always around with you, talking about your weaknesses and your strengths. It will help you to tell you that what should you work on and how can you crack the IBPS PO exam. So go ahead and download the app today. The app has 1,000+ videos in quant, English, reasoning, and every section that is there in IBPS PO exam. Current affairs, you can also write daily tests and the weekly mock test from that app. So go ahead and download the app right now. That was all for today, guys. I will see you again tomorrow with another new session talking about IBPS PO and helping you in cracking the exam. Thank you so much once again for your time. Take care. Bye-bye.